If you can't sleep tonight, if your mind keeps circling back to someone you haven't thought about in a while, or maybe someone you've never quite let go of, this letter is for you. It's a letter I never sent to my dad. Not because I didn't want Tog, but because I never knew how. There's no drama here, no loud arguments, just silence, distance, time. The kind that builds slowly between two people who love each other, but don't know how to say it out loud. Maybe you've felt that too. Maybe you're holding on to your own unsent letter, to your dad, your mom, someone who shaped you, hurt you, or simply slipped out of your life. So tonight, let me read you mine. And if it sounds a little like your story too, I hope it brings you a little peace, a little comfort, or maybe just the feeling that you're not alone in the quiet of this night. It's a quiet, rainy night. I can't sleep. I'm lying here in the dark, listening to the rain outside and thinking about you, Dad. I don't know why, but old memories keep coming back. Soft, slow, but they stay. Maybe it's time I finally say this. Not so you can hear it, but so I can finally understand it myself. I'm not writing this to blame you. It's not about who was right or wrong. It's just the truth. Plain and a little lately. There's so much I've kept inside, not because I was scared, but because I didn't know how to begin. So maybe this is the beginning. This might be the first, and maybe the only, letter I ever write to you. You'll probably never read it, but somehow I still need to write it. If you're someone out there listening to this, maybe you have a letter like that too. A letter for your dad, or your mom, or someone who once meant everything, but somehow drifted far away. A letter you wrote in your mind, but never on paper, Words you've rehearsed, but never said out loud. If that's you, stay a while longer. Just a little longer. Stay with me. In the quiet of this night, in the sound of the rain, and in a story about a father and son. It's not perfect. It's not dramatic, but it's real. When I was a kid, I used to think you were the strongest man in the world. Your hands were big, rough, sun-darkened. Your shirt always smelled like motor oil by the end of the week. But to me, that scent meant safety. Every morning, you'd get up before the sun, brew a cup of strong black coffee, put on your faded work shirt, and drive your old pickup truck to the shop. I went with you a few times. That small repair shop, filled with the sound of hammers, tools grinding, metal clinking. Whenever a customer walked in, you'd wipe your hands on a rag, smile just a little, and say, "Car acting up again." You didn't say much, but people liked you. Maybe because you were real. If you could fix it, you said so. If you couldn't, you stayed quiet and kept working until you could. I remember those quiet Saturday afternoons when you'd drive us to the lake. No fishing rods, no phones, just 2 cans of soda, a few crackers, and silence. You'd sit there watching the water. I'd throw stones to make ripples. And now and then, You'd tell me stories from when you were young. How you once dreamed of leaving town, but then you met Mom, and you stayed. You used to say, some things you don't plan for, but when they come, you just know, this is where you're meant to be. Back then, I didn't understand, but I remember the look on your face when you said it. Peaceful, honest. Every winter, you'd hang Christmas lights around the roof. Even if your hands were frozen, even if it was almost dark, you'd finish it. For your mom, you'd say. But I knew you liked it too. The little blinking lights, the hot cocoa. The whole family sitting together. I remember when I got sick once. You stayed up all night next to my bed. Didn't say anything. Just changed the cold towel on my forehead. Your eyes were red from being tired, but you still smiled every time I opened mine. Back then, I believed. Nothing could ever pull me away from you. You were the man I wanted to be. I copied how you folded your clothes, how you tightened bolts, even how you scratched your head when you were thinking. I don't remember the first time I called you my hero, but I know I meant it, with everything I had. I don't remember exactly when things started to change. There was no one moment, no shouting, no doors slammed shut. Everything just got quieter. You still woke up early, still brewed your coffee, still drove to the shop. But the words between us started to fade. I still sat at the table with you, but I stopped asking what your day looked like. You stopped asking how school was going. The silence grew, not because we ran out of things to say, but because neither of us knew how to start. As I got older, I started thinking for myself. There were things I didn't agree with, questions I had, but I didn't say them out loud, and I don't think you ever knew how to ask. You were a man of principles. Clear lines between right and wrong, between what should be and what shouldn't be. But I started living by feeling, and that made me feel different from you. Then came that one moment, a small thing, really. I chose to go to art school instead of the engineering path you gently suggested. You didn't say anything harsh, but the quiet nod you gave me that day, it hurt more than any argument ever could. In that silence, I knew you were disappointed. After that, the distance between us slowly widened, like a wall without color or shape. You couldn't see it, but I could always feel it there. I came home less, called less. At family dinners, you still asked how I was, still placed food in my bowl, but your eyes didn't feel as warm. Or maybe I just didn't know how to see it anymore. One time, I overheard Mom say, "Your dad loves you more than he knows how to show." I just gave a half smile, because at that point, I didn't need someone to speak for you. I needed you to say it yourself. But you never did. Maybe because you weren't used to it. Maybe because you thought I didn't need to hear it. So I started holding things in, the love, the hurt, the confusion. I started avoiding your gaze, not because I hated you, but because every time I looked at you, I saw a piece of myself, and I didn't know what to do with that. There was one summer I came home, just for 2 days. Then I left in a hurry, Lee. You stood on the porch and simply said, "Drive safe." I turned my back. Didn't respond, Lee. But inside it, all I wanted to do was run back and hug you. I just didn't know how. I kept thinking, there'll be another chance. But slowly, all those next times just faded away like quiet rain falling through the night. There's a moment, even though it happened years ago, that still hits me like a sharp breath when I think about it. I was 16. I had just been kicked off the school basketball team for arguing with the coach. They said I was hot-headed, undisciplined, but all I felt was wrong, like the whole world had turned its back on me. I came home, slammed the door, dropped my bag, and collapsed onto my desk. Eyes red, heart racing, fists clenched. You knocked gently on the door and asked, "What happened?" I threw clenched teeth. I snapped back. "They blamed me. It was all their fault." You were quiet for a moment, then said, "You can't keep reacting like a child." That hit me like a blade. I stood up, angry, eyes burning. "So what should I do, Dad?" Bow my head. "Stay quiet and let people walk all over me." And you looked straight at me, your voice colder now. "If you don't learn to take responsibility, no one will ever trust you or respect you." I remember my voice cracking as I shouted back, "You always wanted me to be like you, but I'm not you." Then came the silence. Heavy, thick, unforgiving. You stood there for a few seconds, then turned away and walked out. No more words. I sat down on the edge of my bed, shaking. Not from anger, but because I saw something shift in your eyes, something that broke, something I never meant to touch. From that day on, the space between us grew. No one brought it up, no one apologized, but the wound stayed, deep and quiet. You still asked how I was, but only briefly. I still answered, but colder than before. We sat at the same dinner table, lived in the same house, but there was something between us, something neither of us could name. I knew you were hurt, because I wasn't the son you pictured me, and I was hurting too, because you never saw how hard I was trying to find myself under the weight of your shadow. For years after that, I lived with the same question spinning in my head. If I had stayed quiet that day, would anything be different? Once, I tried to reach out. I wrote you a Father's Day card, just a few lines, nothing dramatic. I know you've always wanted what's best for me. Even though I'm not like you, I'm trying. But I couldn't bring myself to give it to you. I left it in my drawer, forgotten, buried under old papers and things I never finished. Every time I think of you now, it's like looking into a cracked mirror, where two people who share the same blood can't seem to recognize each other. And the hardest part, no one ever said a word. It was a Saturday in June. Father's Day was just one night away. I was driving back to Silver Falls in a light rain. The wipers moved in rhythm, but my thoughts were all over the place. I hadn't told anyone I was coming. I just needed to. One thought kept echoing in my mind. If there's anything I need to say, It has to be now. The yellow porch light, the one you always hung for the holidays, was still glowing. Through the rain, I saw it flickering, soft and shaky, like your posture the last time I saw you. I stepped onto the porch. The door was unlocked. Inside, the kitchen was dim, lit only by the glow of the fridge. You were sitting alone at the table, back slightly hunched, hands wrapped around a teacup that trembled just a little. 2 pills sat untouched beside it. It was such a small moment, Lee, but it made my heart tighten. You, who once lifted truck engines with your bare hands, now struggled to hold a cup of tea. I quietly opened a cabinet, grabbed some bread and the strawberry jam. You looked up, surprised, maybe a little unsure. You reached for the jar, tried to open it, but couldn't. I stepped in, gently took it from you. A small twist, click, and it popped open. You looked at me, in your eyes something flickered. Embarrassment, relief, gratitude. You said softly, "Thanks, when did you get home?" I replied, "Just now. Want to eat with me?" We didn't say much more, but in that moment, the silence between us cracked just the next morning. Father's Day. I got up early and tried, for the first time, to make pancakes shaped like Christmas trees. Just like you used to when I was a kid. The kitchen smelled like battery, butter, and old memories. You walked in, your hair a mess, grayer than before. You looked at the plate, burnt edges and all, and smile egg. Not bad for a first try. I laughed. I learned from you. You sat down. The morning light touched the lines around your eyes. And then I saw it. Your eyes were wet. The first time I'd ever seen you nearly cry. And just like that, everything I'd held onto for years started to melt. I said it quietly, but clearly. "I'm sorry it took me so long to come back." You shook your head. I'm sorry I didn't know how to keep you close. No long speeches, just 2 sentences. But suddenly, even with the rain outside it, the kitchen felt warm again. After breakfast, you marked the calendar. Father's Day, Ethan came home. Your handwriting was shaky, uneven. I stood behind you, watching the ink spread on the paper, and I realized time doesn't wait for us to fix what's broken. Everything I'd been avoiding became clear, like the sound of rain tapping against a metal roof. You were getting older. I had already grown up, and if the silence stayed any longer, it would become something we couldn't cross. I remembered the card I wrote you years ago, the one I never gave. I went upstairs, opened the old drawer. It was still there, faded, yellow. Waiting, I brought it downstairs and placed it in your hands. You opened it slowly. Read every word. At the last line, "I'm still trying." You pressed your lips together, looked up at me, and said, "I know." 2 words, but they erased years of doubt. That afternoon, the rain stopped. We changed the porch bulb, swept wet leaves off the path. No talk about the past, no plans for the future. But in those quiet, ordinary moments, I felt something growing between us. Not obligation, but connection. And I understood. A healing doesn't take something big, just one honest moment. One small step back toward each other. That night, I sat down to finish this letter. The radio played soft piano. Rain dripped gently from the gutters. And for the first time in a long time, my heart felt a little more at peace. I don't know what the future will bring. But tonight, I've woken up. I'm done blaming the past, done waiting for someday. I choose to love you now, while I can still look into your eyes and say, I'm here. A dad, if there ever comes a moment when you hear these words, I just hope you understand. This isn't a confession, and it's not an excuse. It's just something that, if I don't say it now, I might never get the chance to say at all. I've grown up, and you've grown older. Every year that passes, I realize that time doesn't give us second chances. It only leaves empty spaces between the things we meant to say and the things we never did. You know, all through my teenage years, I tried so hard to become someone you could be proud of. Not because you forced me to, but because I always believed if I wasn't strong like you, logical like you, unshakable like you, then I was a disappointment. So I hid my feelings. I hid every moment I was scared. Every time I just needed a hug, or even just a hand on my shoulder and the words Zeetly. It's okay. I've got you. But I don't blame you, Lee, because now I understand. You were raised to be a man who kept everything inside. No tears, no weakness, no complaints. Just working, just responsibility, just sacrifice. You became that kind of man, and I grew up watching you. That version of strength became my blueprint. And maybe that's why I felt so alone. Not because you didn't love me, but because you didn't know how to show it in words. And I was wrong, too, for thinking that putting distance between us would make the hurt go away. But it didn't. The farther I stayed, the more I missed you. The quieter it got, the more it hurt. Every time I came home, I saw you from behind. Thinner, walking slower, eyes a little dimmer. And every time I wanted to say something, but the words got stuck in my throat. You never knew this, but there were so many times I sat in the car outside, just rehearsing one sentence. Dad, I miss you. But I never knocked on the door. Tonight, I'm writing this letter, not because something special happened, but because I'm tired. Tired of holding in all the things I should have said a long time ago. Sog, if you're still listening, let me say this for the first time and say it completely. Thank you, Dad, for always being there, even without saying a word. I'm sorry, Dad, for misunderstanding you, for walking away, for thinking you didn't love me. I forgive you for all the things I once thought were cold or careless. And if you're willing, I hope you can forgive me, too. For the distance, for the silence, for not understanding you sooner. I'm not asking for things to go back to the way they were. I just want, from now on, to be able to look you in the eye without looking away. To hold your hand without it feeling awkward. To finally say something I've been holding onto for far too long. I love you, not out of duty. Not because it's Father's Day, but because I finally understand. If I don't say it now, I might never get another chance. If you're still here, thank you. Thank you for staying with this story all the way to the end. Maybe you didn't expect it to move you. Or maybe you saw a piece of yourself in it. In the son, in the father, or in the quiet space between the two. All of us, in some way, carry an unsent letter. Maybe it's for a dad, a mom, someone who was once close, or someone who feels impossibly far away now. A letter we meant to write, but never finished. An apology we rehearsed, but never simple. I miss you. That made it to the tip of our tongue grave, but never out loud. We think there's still time, but time doesn't wait for us to be brave. So tonight, if you're lying awake, if there's something in your heart that still feels unsettled, close your eyes for a moment and think of that one person you've stayed silent with. You don't need to write a full letter, just one line, one message, one quiet whisper in your own mind. I still miss you. Mom, I'm okay now. Hi, I never really stopped caring. If this story made you think of someone, don't wait for the perfect time. Because sometimes the right moment is simply now. And if you can't say it yet, if you just need someone to know, leave a single dime in the comments. No explanation, just one small mark. As a way of saying, I'm here, I feel this too. I thank you again for listening, not just with your ears, but with your heart. I wish you a peaceful night. And if there's something unfinished inside you, let it rest tonight with the rain, because tomorrow you just might wake up feeling a little lighter. Sleep well. And if no one's told you this today, let me be the first. You are worthy of love, and you are not alone.